Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Wild and Wingless. I got with myself tonight the resident guru, Gary Fitzpatrick. How are you tonight, Gary?
I'm very good, Andrew. How about yourself?
I'm good, thank you. I'm good. He doesn't like me calling him the resident guru, but he is. Um, so a few things
That's
have been
really
happening,
funny.
developing in Victorian wingless, actually, and a big one in wingless across Australia, but also in Queensland. So we just wanted to quickly to sit down and have a quick chat about some of the things that are changing, and Gary can help us explain some of that. I want to start with the biggest one that I think you're going to be very passionate about. You're very eager about this one. I'm very passionate about it. It's what just happened in Toowoomba. So they've just allowed the Kids in Pits vest program. What did you think
Yeah,
about that?
yeah. Our discussion a couple of weeks ago seems like we were sort of on the right track, weren't we? I'm just so happy for this. It's Toowoomba have sort of gone out on a limb with it, and I think it's going to be absolutely fantastic. I think they've already had an event where they did have kids in the pit, with no dramas at all. But you can go onto their website now, have a look. They've got some rules, regulations around it. It's very straightforward. They're common sense rules, and it's going to allow a lot of families to turn up and go racing together. And I just think that's absolutely fantastic. Effectively, I think they're pretty much aligning with the Motorplex and what they've been doing for years now. But at the end of the day, kids will have to wear like a high vis, some sort of high vis top. I actually spoke to Toowoomba this morning about it because we're getting some shirts and things done finally. LFA getting some shirts done, and we're just going to get the kids shirts done in high vis,
Yep.
so that the kids can just chuck them on and go to the track if they want to go to the track in their high vis, and it's done and dusted. So we can't wait. We may never take them to Toowoomba, but we'll just set it up just so we might if we can.
Well, there you go. I mean, the first round of the WoW series is going to be Toowoomba. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I'm very pumped about it. I mean, I know Toowoomba copped a bit of slack a few weeks back with the whole quad program or announcement. They want quads and cars being pushed around, and people got
Yeah.
upset about that. And I do feel for everyone, but I think if this is the way they're going, I'm a fan. I think it's going to be great. Just to know, like the kids and the parents, I think they're going to do tours or just even open it up. But I remember, yeah, going there last year and when I was at the gate to pay because I didn't have my Speedway Australia license at the time, so I normally have to pay the $20 on top, and I got told no, you don't have to pay any extra. I thought, what the? They said, oh no, it's all just pay the 50 and in you go. And I thought, man, this place is great.
Ladies.
So, but to see the kids in the pits with the program, like what we spoke about before, over in the States, you guys have, or they have them over there. Um, it's only going to be a winner. There's so many guys I've had on this show who are fathers, parents, young kids, and they've got to set their wife, up on the hill there with the kids, and it just means they can hang with Dad a bit longer in the trailer and stuff. So yeah, well done to you, Toowoomba. Hopefully the rest of the tracks take suit. Um, Another thing in the news that we had recently, Victoria, I think, well, yeah, Victorian wingless have been very instrumental before the season, getting a lot of information out. You had like the video or the program for new starters, new beginners, and then you sort of ran out a list of the things that changed in our rule book. And one of the ones which a lot of people sort of a bit confused on, myself being included, was this pin B9 rule. Can you just
Mm.
explain that to
Yeah.
us? Make it, yeah, so we get a bit of an idea.
Yeah. So I'm not actually a part of the national tech officer
Oh yeah,
or anything
sorry,
like
yeah,
that.
we
But
we're not
but
condoning. Oh,
but
we're
I
not with
did
it. Yeah, I should say.
but I did sit in on the meeting. So thanks to the fact that I put the tie rules forward, so I did hear a lot of the discussion that was going on, and I feel like I've got a relatively um, good understanding of what the B9 pin is. The pin that allows in the VPVN, I believe, for the engine to run on either petrol or gas or have gas. Um, so effectively, you can have two tunes off off the computer, and the second tune would run through the B9 pin. So effectively, all you're doing really is just not allowing anyone to run anything out of that B9 pin, which means that they can't run dual tunes. Simple as that.
Yeah, right.
Um, Common sense, easy rule. No one, there's probably no one who's even doing it anyway. But once again, if there's a gap, let's fill it. It's been
I mean,
filled.
I like the fact that they found a loophole. Like they found something there, and because I didn't understand, so obviously, yeah, it's the motor to run on two different fuels. I didn't understand about it, and people saying, "Oh, you put two tunes in." Where? But anyway, you've explained it to me before, so I think the way they're being proactive about this, I think it's going to be very helpful moving forward for everybody. And it doesn't sound like an easy thing. I mean, sorry, it doesn't sound like a hard thing to do either. You just simply cut the wire and it's done. Um, No more than that. So, yep, that's good. The next one they brought in was the idle speed control valve. Can you explain that one?
Yep. This is a safety issue. And to be honest, there was some concerns about cars getting around the pit and how fast often winglesses get around the pit. That idle sensor valve, or the idle sensor, controls things like the air conditioner and different things on the motor. And when you're sitting at the lights, where the car sort of goes up and down in revs, I suppose you can say, without you necessarily controlling it via your throttle pedal. So by unplugging it, what it does is it stops the cars from having those little surges that often people find will happen in their wingless. I know when they asked sort of around the group who has theirs plugged in and who has that not plugged in, and a lot of the people who were in the meeting were sort of some of the bigger teams, etc., etc. And most of them didn't even have it plugged in anyway. So for most people, this is once again just something that is a common sense thing that plugs are necessary. You just unplug it. You make sure it's closed off, so it doesn't keep sucking air. And you're right to go, and you won't have those problems of the car surging on you when you're trying to idle around the track, idle through the pits. Simple as that.
Yeah. Okay. No, that makes sense by having that. And again, very easy thing to change on your throttle body. So another simple.
Yeah.
I like
just unplug.
Yeah, I like the fact these are very easy to change rules rather than sometimes divisions bring in rules and you have to almost change the whole kitchen sink. So that's good. Another rule they brought out now. To me, I'm not too sure about it because I read it and I thought, well, we don't have this. Well, I think they're starting to bring it into New South Wales, but the $50 $50 refundable nomination is now being removed.
Yep.
So can you just in New South Wales we don't have this. So can you just explain that to us and maybe you've got new members or so forth coming into Wingless? What does that mean?
Yeah. So in Victoria last year we implemented a $50 fee for so people pay $50 to nominate, and then if you don't turn up you can get $50 back. But we did have some circumstances throughout the year where people didn't get their money back because they hadn't informed the club, something had happened, they did it too late, etc., etc., which caused a little bit of angst. The reason why the $50 fee was brought in was because they wanted to make sure that 40 people nominate for the weekend event. They want 40 people to turn up and present at the track. That's in the best interest of the track, etc., etc. But what Brother Sean found as he was doing his sort of checks and balances throughout the year, realised that it wasn't actually making any difference. The $50 fee wasn't actually changing whether people did or didn't turn up. If they couldn't turn up because they had work or family commitments or whatever, they couldn't turn up. Whether the $50 was paid or not was kind of irrelevant. So a way around that is to, instead of charging a $50 fee for not turning up, it's to actually charge a fee to turn up if you want to nominate late. So the people who don't turn up are sort of compensated by people who do turn up. So we know that people's circumstances change a lot, particularly when you've got businesses and families and a whole heap of stuff going on, whether you have cars in good order or not or whatever. So just opening it up to people who can say, look, I can turn up and Joe Blow can't turn up, the numbers are going to stay about the same. If there's one or two difference either way, it's not a big deal. But what we want to do is try and make it easy for people to race rather than hard for people to race. Once again, I'm not a committee member, but I'm passionate about that. I've made my views very clear on it to the committee that I'm very passionate about that via a letter. But I just want to get, I want people to say, they wake up on a Saturday morning. Maybe they thought they were going to have a lot of work they were going to have to do. Maybe they don't have the work. They're like, you know what? There's a race on at Simpson night, a nice little club show. Why don't we just load the car up and go down and have a race? Provided Simpson are happy to accept the late nomination, the late nomination fee gets paid. There's no rear field. You're just racing, and it's fantastic. And we're all getting out there and having a good time. Now that doesn't apply yet, or that's not something that applies to Super Series rounds, big titles, etc., etc. It's just club shows at this stage. So,
right.
It's just allowing people the ability to sort of move and shake a little bit. If someone continually doesn't turn up, well, there's a problem and that needs to be dealt with.
Yep.
But for most people, there's a really genuine reason as to why they can't turn up, or a genuine reason as to why they want to nominate late, and that's all right. We can work with that.
Okay, so let's say, hypothetically speaking, in New South Wales, we have a race at a track X, and for whatever reason, the week leading up to it, it's just nothing but rain. Pretty much we could go, right, okay, we're not going to get our show in here because it's forecast for rain all the way through the weekend. Quick, let's we're past, we're sitting on Wednesday or Thursday. Let's speak to. Do we have to contact you guys, or would we have to contact the club first to let them know we're coming, or just show up?
Yeah. So that's a good question. So there's two problems with nominating late with the potential rain out somewhere else. Like in Australia, throughout Wingless Australia, you can, if it's going to rain in Sydney and the race has been called off, you can come down to us and race. Provided the race has been cancelled, you can just nominate without a late fee or anything like that. However, there are circumstances where people do decide, look, I was going to race at Sydney, but it's looking pretty dicey. I reckon I'm more likely to get a show down in Victoria, so let's drive down to Victoria and race down there. So in Victoria, how that's going to work from here on in, I believe, is that although that Sydney race hasn't been cancelled yet, your nomination will be considered late, so you will pay a late fee to nominate because you're late and you had nominated elsewhere. However, if Sydney does get called off up until the time the A main finishes, okay, you will be refunded your late fee.
All right.
Okay, so that way it doesn't really, you can hedge your bets. You're either going to cop the late fee, and if Sydney goes on, and that's all good. Or if Sydney gets called off, we go, okay, well, now it's considered not a late nomination, it's considered a rain-out nomination. You can have your money back.
Now, if they do that, let's say they do the late fees, what you're saying is if they do the late fee, regardless, they're not going rear field, are they?
No, there's no.
So they're pretty much paying their way out of a rear field.
No, in Victoria, there's no more rear field. There's no more rear field now, unless you're a rookie. Unless you turn up late to the track and you're not in the draws. If you don't turn up to driver's brief, there are three reasons why you'd be put rear field. But other than that, pretty much, you're not rear field.
Yeah, I like that idea. I wonder how many other clubs are doing that. I'd like to hear back from how. I know Victoria, but South Australia, Queensland, WA, Northern Territory. I know how New South Wales is. You're going rear field, but maybe we can change that. Another one.
Yeah, sprint cars now have it that way too. So we're just aligning ourselves, I think, with the modern world of how this is sort of all going. With sprint car racing in Victoria, the SRA, you just pay a late fee and go racing, and everyone's okay with that.
Okay. Because I'll bring up this next one, then I'll say something. But another one that caught my eye was driver change. Driver may change number up until signing closes on the day. So can you explain that one to me? I think I know it, but
so there's a whole lot of circumstances why that may or may not happen. Example might be that someone forgets a logbook, right? That you've got the logbook for that particular car, it's not available, but you've got a logbook for another number. You can sort of work your way around. It's not ideal, but you can do it. The Walshes when they were up at Dubbo the other day, where I think Ray Wallace someone may have had a motor issue at Dubbo, and then Ray said, "Come and jump into my car." So Ray stepped out of his car, and that person jumped in.
Yep.
For the most part, I think most states are okay with that anyway. It was just formalising that up to allow that to happen. Once again, it's just let's encourage people to race, not make it difficult.
So let's say I'm racing. I'm going to get my butt in the car. I'm going to race, and day before race day, for whatever reason, the car I'm going to drive has got a serious issue, motor issue, no oil pressure, or something like that.
Good point. Yeah.
And I really want to race. You guys are saying I can change to another car which is running, and I won't have to go rear field or anything like that.
No. So the driver can change.
Yep.
If the car, I can't quite remember the impact if the car owner hasn't already nominated or not. I'll have to get back to you on that.
Okay.
But it can be worked out. It can
all be worked out. We want to go racing, basically, is what you're saying. Victoria Wingless want to go racing. I love it. Yeah. I love it.
Yeah. No, that's what it's all about. So,
no, that's good. That's good. I appreciate it because I see what you guys did. You bring up all this information. I think Victoria is really good at promoting the sport. You probably don't want to start throwing axes anywhere, but I think you're probably leading Australia with the promotional stuff you guys are doing at the moment. Queensland's doing some great stuff with their driver profiles. Love it, guys. Keep it up. But Victoria, as far as the knowledge you guys put out, or the information you put out for people to get knowledge on buying cars new to the sport and what they need to go through for your daylighting process, I thought was fantastic. So that's one of the reasons I reached out to you and said, "Hey, man, look, can we talk about this? This is good information." So, no, I appreciate
it. We're still working through the video stuff with Wingless Sprints Australia. There's some, it's an expensive thing. We're trying to produce what we're trying to do at the national level is produce a tech video that helps people understand what measurements of cars are and how that impacts on head heights and seats, etc., so that when people are buying new cars or getting into the sport, they can have a bit of direction. Because what we know is a lot of people will often buy a car because someone said it's a tall cage and it will fit you, and so what we're trying to do is give people some parameters so that they understand what they're looking at, and some ideas of maybe buy your seat first rather than buy the car first, so that you can take your seat to put it in the car to make sure you're going to fit. Just little things like that to make sure that we don't have any those head injuries where people are getting struck from above are horrific. So we want to stop that as much as we can. It's not a perfect science. You never will get rid of it all, but if you can save one or two people, well, it's only to be a good thing, can't it?
Yeah, no, I agree. Now this weekend we've got some racing on at Toowoomba. When are you guys ready to kick off down there in Victoria?
We're lining up for Avalon. I think on the 5th is our first one. We were going to go to Mildura last week, actually. We were going to take Chris up to Mildura for a run, just to give him a bit of an idea of how Mildura might be, having never driven our car up there. But that got called off, so that was disappointing. But I think that was going to be this weekend, actually.
Yeah, this weekend.
So we're looking forward to Avalon. Great for us, just up the road. Good central spot for a lot of our members, and a good shakedown. Easy for a lot of the committee to get there and do their stuff as well. So should be good. And then I think we've got one at Swan Hill, or one sort of up in the Riverina area, and then we're back to Avalon for the Invitational at the end of the month, which is always a really, really good event.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'll try and catch up with you before then, so we can have that one. But all eyes will be on Toowoomba this weekend to see who gets the win up there. And the Queensland club's been very vocal about sending through the information, so I look forward to seeing it all, so we can have a recap on that too. But Gary, thank you very much for joining me on such late notice, and we'll catch you very shortly on the next one. Guys, thanks very much for that. Hopefully you learned something tonight, and we'll see you on the next one. Thank you. Take care.
For you, Andrew. Bye now.